Uh, Only third years don't have an exam and first years are free. So we are organizing a seminar for first years in the afternoon, for third years in the morning. Actually, we wanted to accommodate more students, but I know the strength of today. It's because of Saturdays, the amount of students who are present in the class also is very less than 10 in each section. Okay, so I know Srikanth since he was my student. So he is a 2014 to 18 batch of CSE, and he was very active while he was here also. He was responsible for conducting one of the coding clubs in CSE department. He is one of the alumni who has taken a lot of interest in the coding club during his third year and final year itself. So he improved himself while he was here, and the amount of growth in his career that he has achieved in the last 7 years, I think 6 years or 7 years, around 6 years, the growth he has gone as he has become an architect. This year he got a double promotion. So that's really wonderful. So he is actually a role model for many of the CSE and allied branch students. So he is here, he'll be with us the entire day, and today morning they will be taking you to the world of generative AI, and if you are interested you could attend the afternoon session also, but because it's first years we are not allowing you, but he'll be there in the campus today and tomorrow. So if you have any further doubts, you want to interact with him, he is available, right? So tomorrow also if any hostelers are there and they want to interact with him, at least you can talk to him at some time, he'll be available. So don't lose this opportunity. Whatever he tries to convey today, please try to grasp it to the maximum extent, and I hope you'll all be reaching to great careers like him, and I'm actually happy for him for reaching such a great height at OSI Digital. So tomorrow we are having the OSI Digital Drive for all the 5 years eligible students only. The eligibility criteria is also very high. I think it's 80% throughout from 10th to till now. 80% and above, only those students are attending the drive. And if you have, next year he'll be coming again for your drive, right? So if you have any doubts regarding what to learn in this 1 year so that you could get a job at OSI Digital, that also you can concentrate today. Okay, so ask as many questions as possible. He won't get irritated. He has a lot of patience. Okay. Welcome Srikanth to the campus again, and thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Distinguished speaker, Mr. Srikanth, architect at OSI Digital and a proud alumnus of Sri Vasavi. So with his expertise and experience, he will guide us through the transformative journey of Gen AI and its mode. On behalf of organizing team, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the management, principal sir, our HOD ma'am for their constant encouragement and support in making this event possible. And now I would like to call upon Sirisha to briefly introduce our speaker.
Good morning to one and all present here. On behalf of the Institution Innovation Council and the Department of Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning, I extend a warm welcome to our distinguished alumnus, Mr. Srikanth Doddi, who has made us proud with remarkable achievements. It is a proud occasion for us to welcome back one of our most distinguished alumni, Mr. Srikanth Doddi. We are deeply honored by his presence with us today. Mr. Srikanth Doddi is currently an architect and engineering manager at OSI Digital Private Limited in Hyderabad, leading a team of more than 20 engineers and driving solutions in cloud computing, AI, and full-stack applications development. He is a 4x and 3x AWS certified expert, has earned multiple nano degrees in cloud architecture and DevOps, and is recognized as a certified coach and team leader. He is fluent in several languages and holds numerous certifications in user experience, machine learning, and product management. He has more than 8 years of experience crafting innovative, data-driven, and scalable tech solutions, including cloud-native systems, IoT, data streaming, serverless infrastructure, and secure real-time products that connect the physical and digital worlds. He is passionate about AI and machine learning, building advanced applications from OpenCV to Google Vision, Gen AI, chatbots, and conversational AI using technologies like Dialogflow, Microsoft Luis, and IBM Watson. He is celebrated as a true team whisperer, guiding and mentoring engineers, promoting creativity and collaboration, and consistently delivering best practices and innovation. His record includes leadership in major products, launching knowledge-sharing platforms, designing cloud-based machine learning and computer vision solutions, and managing top-performing teams across multiple organizations. His professional journey covers roles in OSI Digital, Presidio, Essential, in data analytics, Miracle Software, and now floats working on everything from healthcare and finance to mobile apps, event-driven architecture, IoT for mission-critical clients, and automation test suites. He has trained and inspired teams, contributed to developing products using modern stacks, and holds a master's from BITS Pilani and a bachelor's from our Sri Vasavi Engineering College, making us study proud today. His journey brings together technical brilliance, innovation, mentorship, and a spirit of always pushing the boundaries, a perfect example for all of us. Please join me in extending a heartfelt, thunderous welcome to Mr. Srikanth Doddi, and let's look forward to an inspiring sessions.
Now I would like to invite Srikanth sir for delivering his lecture.
For giving good introduction. So actually he stole some of my slides, so I'll have to skip few of them. And thank you Loshma madam, our HOD has always been, and principal sir and management for organizing this session. With that aside, so I actually planned this session for yesterday, and hence Happy Teachers Day, but then still belated Happy Teachers Day madam. Okay, so then who am I? So they gave an introduction. I work as an architect at OSI. So what do I work on? I work on machine learning solutions, cloud and full stack applications. I manage a team of 20 engineers who are quite young and very active like you folks. So I take my attention just for a second, they'll be doing something else. Right? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So there was a slide that was explaining about me, that was more of a show of telling, okay, I have close to 8 years of experience, and then I know Python, Java, Node.js, Swift and all that. You will all end there at some point in your career, and I'm hoping you will also come back and do these sessions. But for summary, that's what I do. I work on multiple programming languages and frameworks. Right, and what do I do? Okay, so this is interesting part. So I lead a sub-department at OSI. Okay, of course, I also work as an architect on enterprise-grade solutions, and outside work, because at some point work will become boring, right? So from college, you've been learning things, right? So in 10th class, how many of you heard, this is the important phase, if you pass 10th and get 90% done, your life is set. Okay, great. What about intermediate? And I bet you are hearing same right now. Okay. I hate to break it to you. Once you join any organization, they'll tell you first 4 years are very important for your career and success. So now, does that mean they're lying? No. But then whatever you are building year by year is a foundation for your future. Right? And if time permits, because we're already 1 hour late, half of it is my mistake, we'll also discuss about how to apply for different organizations and how job opportunities in market is. But that's not what this session is actually about. Okay? And outside my work, what I do, so I do karate. Given my personality, I think that's easy to say. And then what else I put in there? So I put blog, YouTube. Yeah, I also speak at conferences. And how many of you are anime fans here? I think I should ask this side. No one else? Very unfortunate. Actually, I am looking to hire people who love anime because I have very few people in my team who loves anime. And how many of you watch Korean drama? This is very weird batch. No Korean drama, no anime. Okay, nice. You're shy? You can raise your hand. I'm not going to ask questions about any Korean drama. Okay, cool. Right. So now, since I come on behalf of OSA as well, while I carry legacy of Vasavi College, I also represent OSI. So this is what life at OSI looks like. So it's full of fun. Okay, so I specifically put all the pictures of mine so you understand that's not a lie. It's not some Google photo where, hey, show me some pictures where people are smiling so I can, cheat my juniors telling OSI is a great place. Right, so as you can look at those pictures, so those are all about those lunch events, conferences, and the first one is my favorite because that's when I went to France on site through the organization. So that's where we were presenting. So what I'm trying to tell here is at OSI, so we have very good learning opportunities. Consider this like a pre-sales, okay? I'm selling OSI for next year, so you will be interested. You have on-site opportunities, faster career growth, you have good mentorship opportunities, and of course every organization has lunch, team lunches and all those. You go to different restaurants, all that stuff. That is also there at OSI. And yeah, this is my personal life right now. So whatever I told, karate, YouTube, blogging, so all of it went to trash since last 4 months, and that's my daughter there. So that's my personal life all over right now. Yeah, I am married and I also have a daughter. Right, so of course Sirisha has already announced, Loshma madam has announced, Vishnu sir has announced. My connection with Vasavi is I work here as an alumni. And if you look at those pictures, most of them are in this room itself. Especially the pink one. Is that the pink one? Yeah, there it is. See? So this is my favorite conference room. I was asking Loshma madam, can we have this room itself? Because this is my playground when I was back in the college. It makes me feel comfortable. Right? Because I know where people will sit, what they will do in the last row. For example, the guy who is talking on the side in the last row. Okay? And then what I've done in the college while I was here, so I started technical club, I believe the first one. So we went to internship and then we came back, so we felt, okay, why don't we share with people? So, at that point we did not have that much awareness about technical clubs. Whenever I go to class and tell, okay guys, we're going to start a technical club, people would be like, Malli. That's how people are. Right? But we still did. We did it for third years because that's my 3-1. For our second years and first years, of course we couldn't invite our seniors. They wouldn't join as well because they're already almighty. You might be feeling the same, right? At this point, so like we're all almighty seniors. In the bus, you are the folks who will ask your juniors to stand up when you come, the new joinees. You will ask them to instruct. Are you guys doing that? Really? Because a couple of my cousins are still studying here. They said the story is otherwise. Okay. Nice. And then we started Auditors Club, Audiovisual Club and all these things. And I'm glad that today is laid foundation to so many clubs in the college and people are more open. So I see GDSC, MLSC and all these things, right? Yeah, so if you ever think where did this start at some point, it's them. Okay. So before we start this session, I want to explain the importance. Okay. So whenever, by the way, what's your name?
Teja.
Abhiram. I just asked him because he texted me on LinkedIn. Okay. So in the current corporate world, so how many of you are from AIML branches? Oh, great. How many of you are from computer science? And then still feel you should have been part of AIML branch, should have done more? No one? Oh, okay, only 3 people. Interesting. Cool. Okay, so I hate to break the bubble, though I am talking about a session on Gen AI. I want to make one thing clear for you. Machine learning and AIML is not the only domain in the software industry. Okay? I'll give you simple example. Take my organization. We have around 2,000 employees and I'm the only one who runs a team of machine learning engineers and I have 6 engineers on machine learning. So what are the chances of you getting into that machine learning team? So now, I'm telling this because few students reach out to me and they say, I want to learn machine learning. I'm like, why? That's the niche market right now. They'll pay so high. I'm like, I am not paying anything higher for machine learning market. So who is doing that? Okay, cool. And then, so there are different other domains, software engineering, right, on its own, front-end development, back-end development, cloud engineering. So you build your machine learning models. I'm assuming whatever I'm talking, you're able to process it. At any point, if you're not able to process it, just raise your hand. You don't have to say anything. I'll just dial it down. Okay? Good. So now, you might be developing machine learning models, right? It's part of your curriculum, what you are learning. Where do you run those models? On your laptops? Right now? Okay. So you go to the organization. Where does those models run for the customers? Still on your laptops? So how do they access them? Abhiram, you can answer. How do they access the models? Through APIs. Have you heard about a concept called REST APIs? They will expose these models via REST APIs. So now the whole process of including your machine learning models as part of this REST APIs and making it accessible, that's called backend development. Been there since, I don't know, 1990. Will be there for another, I don't know, 20-30 years. Right? And then you give APIs and the data gets extracted. So now how do you display this data? Have you heard about JSON format? How many of you heard about JSON format? Okay, for those of you who are not aware of it, it's just a key value pair. It just says first name Srikanth, last name Doddi, college, SVC and so on in a brace, flower braces, as simple as that. Okay. Now I go to a customer, I say, here's the JSON, enjoy. How do you think they'll feel? Not so presentable, right? So now you need to make this data more presentable. I don't know who did the poster. For me, it was very nice. I used to, who's Fires? Oh, very nice. Oh, it's you? Okay. I used to make posters back when I was here. Those were not so great. That's fine. Okay. Okay. So presentation is very important, right? So your customer, he wants to see this. And I'm not considering you folks as students. I'm considering you folks as next generation engineers, and I'm telling the whole session in that point of view. So if you think why he's talking about customers, we don't have any customers, because you will soon once you get a job. Okay, so now that's where you need front end. How many of you heard about React, Angular, Vue, Next, Nest, Fresh.js? These are all front end frameworks. Okay. So now, whatever these 6 engineers are building in my organization, that's not the whole job market. So now why I'm telling this before I start Gen AI session, not to tell machine learning is not the only thing. Machine learning is definitely the wave right now. Okay? But then there's all, I don't know, 100 members in this room. Will you all get a job only in machine learning? I doubt it. Even if you get a job only in machine learning, do you think 100% of the time you will work on those tools? I highly doubt it. Right? So you need to know different skill sets. And that brings me back to the data structures, to the coding, the programming languages, all of those you are learning. Okay, so those are very important. And I have seen few engineers in my team, they write code in Python here, and then I start asking questions. Okay, can you tell me a difference between list and tuple? Don't lick the paper, huh? For your seniors. And then no answer. That's a basic Python question. So some people will tell one is mutable, other is unmutable. So I'll ask, if I put list inside a tuple, if I put tuple inside a list, is it possible? Now if I put list inside a tuple, and then is it mutable or unmutable? It confuses you, right? Have you ever tried that? Go back home today, open your Python editor, try these things. That's how you understand the concepts. How many types of Python are there? C Python, Iron Python. How do you package Python libraries? I mean, if you have any Python book in the library, first 20-30 pages talks about these concepts only. Any book you pick. And my favorite is Python Black Book. Atta meeda black color lo untadi, so they call it Black Book. As simple as that, and it's a very detail oriented book. Okay. So now about the certifications. So if you are doing certifications to show to the interviewer that you did so much, don't do it. I'd rather say do not even put it in the resume. If you are able to answer the questions, if you understand the concepts, then only you put it in the resume. Because at this point, whenever I come to our college, or even in Hyderabad, I go to Usmania or CBIT. So whenever I see certifications, in initial days, 4 years back, I used to be excited. Now, when I see more certifications, I'm like, okay, alert, fake resume. Let's ask few questions here. Got the point? So the whole purpose of having clubs in the college is to create awareness in the technology and have hands-on. One example is in 2019 passed outs, there was I think L&T, and there were so many coordinators for the technical club we started. And they went to the interview process, and I was working in a startup at that time. And each one is calling me and telling I got a job. Girls and boys together, I think around 20-25 members. I asked why each one of you is calling continuously, what is this company? And they said, okay, there is a drive that is happening, we got selected. Okay, what happened in the drive? Then they were explaining, okay, remember we were giving a session on SQL and NoSQL databases. So they asked about it, we explained in detail, they were very impressed. Someone was talking about game design. Someone was talking about cloud. At that point, we were learning AWS and IBM Bluemix. Not Azure. Azure was not so famous. Everyone still hates it actually. Okay. So now they only had skills in their resume and answered questions of those skills. Clear? Yeah. Does this make things simpler? So next year, if I and when I come for interview, even if not me, if any of my team members come for interview, and you have your resumes, make sure you only keep what you know. Okay. And then I even see few people not writing programs. So I ask them, okay, write a program. And they're like, they'll put the pen down. I don't know, sir, sorry, this is my first interview. Okay, I mean, you've been preparing 4 years for this interview. Now, what's the point if you're not performing in it? And what saddens me most is, they get through first round, and Loshma madam knows my pain. I was never able to clear first round when I was in college. I hate aptitude, to be honest. I'm very good in programming, but I never got a chance to go there. And the jobs I got is through internships, and then companies where they asked questions on technical. Right? So they make it through first round, they make it through GD, and then they fail in technical. According to me, is easiest. You've been prepared for that for 4 years. How many of you have Venkat sir as your professor at some point?
No.
Even now? Oh, you were Venkat sir trains you? Okay, and Banu madam? For CSC? Okay, so I just named a couple of names, but there are many people. But so these people purely focus on your coding capabilities, right? They take lead code problems, they ask you to solve. I used to hate those sessions. I even dropped out asking Loshma madam. But at this point today, when I'm interviewing, so I feel like I destroyed so many of my peers' careers because of me. They even dropped out. They did not get the jobs. Okay, so make sure you attend those sessions and from the start you do hands-on and go deeper in whatever you do. You know, just MongoDB, understand MongoDB to the deepest extent. Aggregations, calculations, right? What's the difference between SQL and NoSQL databases? What is a cap theorem? I think it's time that I walk because this is the point where people get bored and start using phones in the month. Okay. And every year they ask same questions and they know that. Are you getting the point?
Yes.
So no one is asking you advanced questions unless you put them in your resume. If it is not there, they are going to ask you questions from your curriculum itself. Okay. And I have a director, if there is a civil engineer, he will ask the rigidity modulus, how do you calculate for the bridges that you construct? Core knowledge. And for you people being computer science, AIML, right, the fancy branches, you should be even better at these things. And it does not need too much effort. Just open lead code, practice one problem a day that you feel comfortable with, right? You have like one semester. According to me, semester does not last more than 3 months. They always tell 6. Somehow I feel it ends in 3 months. So if you take 3 months, 90 days, 90 problems. If you solve 90 lead code problems, you'll get a good perspective of, okay, what is the order of complexity for a program, right? Data structures. My programming style is simple. When I interview, I ask them write a program for palindrome. Everyone will by heart this program, they'll write it. Now I'll tell optimize this. So like, sir, optimize this. I don't know. Okay, can you explain how you did this? What is the current program's order of complexity? Sorry, I don't know. So now that's pretty obvious that you mucked up the program. By luck, I gave you that program, right? So I tell reverse a string. They'll do the program and then I extend it. I'll say reverse a substring which is part of a string. Now they do not. Because again, the problem is totally mucked up, so you cannot extend it. And I've seen people who at least try. Some people come and they say, I cannot exactly execute the program, can I write the pseudocode? Totally fine. And there have been people who explain and then pass through the route. Got it? Same for databases. How complex do you think questions are on databases? Joins, I ask how many joins are there. What is an inner join? What is an outer join? I mean, so I act as if I don't listen. I'll be typing the feedback, and sometimes I hear left join, some weird joins that in SQL they still haven't invented. So okay, this guy is not hearing. Let's add 2 more joins. Okay, so this is the whole reason. Before I start Gen AI session, and once you hear this session, I want you to understand. Now you have a clarity on what it is. But this does not make you an expert in Gen AI. You have to do hands-on. You have to go deeper if you want to be an expert. Okay? And I had people who have highest scores in the department and did not get the job, and people who had not the lowest scores but yet decent amount of percentages like me. I had 68%. So, and then still got the jobs. And then there are people who are very good in academics and also practice hands-on. Okay? And for the folks who haven't done anything, right? So, in boys, mama nage muchra, amma nage moche. So this is how you folks talk, right? So, I mean, I had friends who are female colleagues. we used to roam outside and used to get caught to Loshma madam in college. And I think I can probably say I got caught multiple times, right behind principal sir's room, sitting in the lawn. So, and then I'm going to talk about LLMs, prompt engineering, advanced tools and limitations. Okay, how many of you have used GenAI frameworks or tools? You can raise your hand, I want to ask questions. That's a deal. But if no one raises, then I'll have to pick. Abhiram, since I know your name, you can sit and answer. You worked on GenAI? Any GenAI tools? Which tools did you work on? Runway ML. Okay, you can sit. I don't want to torture you so much. Who else? You can just tell me the names. It's not like I'm going to ask the algorithm behind it. So, madam, are these machine learning branch students or AIML students? Okay, just confirming. So, anyone who's shy and still want to answer? So, that miss there, who is talking to the person on the side. Do you want to share something? Do you have any tool name? Yes, you, who is acting like it's not you. Okay, cool. So, what is generative AI? So now you're from AIML branches, computer science branches. You're hearing a lot of fancy words, right? That Meta folks are poaching people from OpenAI. Poaching is like stealing employees. Like OpenAI is poaching employees from Meta, and then you hear things like Meta acquired this Gen AI company for this $1 billion. And all this, like if you install InShots, every day you'll get those kind of notifications. But you feel like you know so much, but you don't know what that is. And so after this session, at least let's have some clarity. Okay. So what is generative AI? So like it was given in the slide, so forget about the slide, so I'll share it at the end. If you type 2025.svec.srikanth.doddi.com, you'll get the slides. Okay. If you don't remember that much, just you can type links.srikanth.doddi.com, you'll get all the links. If you search now, you won't get it. I intentionally did not update it right now, so that you won't search in your phone in a rush. Okay. Alright. So now, I'm pretty sure all of you are using Gen AI solutions. For one, how many of you use ChatGPT? And then no one raised hand when I asked. How many of you use Gemini? Do you use it for exams? Okay, I hear yes in the hiding. Madam, I think you should watch out a bit. Block the ChatGPT in the college network. Okay, so what do you do with that? I don't hear anything in here. Anyone can? Summarizing? What else? I want you folks to be responsive. A little bit louder. For referring, yeah. Thank you. And optimizing solutions. But as of today, what generative AI is doing is it's doing content creation. As the name suggests, generation. It creates content in different forms. As simple as that. Okay? Hero. Okay, how does that work? So, does this seem similar to anything that you learned during your curriculum? I'm like, face. You can tell louder. At this point, you should be comfortable. Few people answered questions. I don't ask reverse questions. So, which one is familiar? One person a bit louder. Okay, I'll do one thing. For that one person who is very active throughout the session, I'll do one giveaway. And that is definitely a big one that you will love. Okay? So now, So what is it similar to? Machine learning? Supervised learning, okay. So because we are learning from the examples, we are recognizing the patterns and then clustering, okay, and then we are generating the content. So the way generative AI works is they take lot of data that is out in the world, your WhatsApp messages, your charts, everything that you feel is secure, that is exposed over the internet. All that content is taken and it is trained to a model. Okay. So now, how many of you are familiar with the word parameters for training? Okay. Imagine an Excel sheet. Okay. In the Excel sheet, I have columns. Each column talks about a specific trait or a quality or an attribute. Okay. For example, if I take a vehicle, right? So for the vehicle, I'll say model. That's a parameter, right? And then price. That's a parameter. Similarly, for the data, language data that is out there, they have like billions of parameters, okay, and these models are trained on those billions of parameters of data, okay. So now what's the difference between generative AI versus traditional AI? So it's obvious there, but if anyone can summarize it beautifully. Okay. Right, absolutely. So in the current machine learning systems, what you would be doing is, you have existing data, you are training the existing data, whatever you are doing is scope within the data. Right, so probably you will say the person in the last but one seat, every time he is turning on the left side, and whenever I look at him, he is turning the front. So do you think he is listening to the session? Now based on the pattern that I train, it will tell yes, mostly he is a very dedicated student, he is listening to the session. That's what it says, right? So now all of this is based on the data that it is trained on. But is it telling, okay, Srikanth will come next week for a seminar and then this happens, that happens, or I had a dream, okay, this is what happened? No. So it's all on the existing data. So for the generative AI, now it creates new data, which is why you go to it and then you ask, optimize it further. My interview first round is asking this program, and then sometimes you also get flagged and you cannot trace things back. So what's the difference? Okay, here's a question. While you are learning machine learning, okay, there are two kinds of things. One kind of machine learning is where you can trace back the reasoning. One kind of machine learning is where you cannot trace back the reasoning why this decision is made. What are those? Reinforced learning, what is it related to? Which example?
First, like trace back, right? Trace back.
It can trace back? Okay. What about ones that does not trace back? Have you read about neural networks? Okay, so can you go and ask neural network, why did you give this person this score? And then it says, you know what, so according to this layer told layer number 5 to do this, so layer number 5 told layer number 16 to do this. Okay, who is layer number 5? Okay, layer number 5 came from layer number 1 and 2. No, doesn't make sense. Right? So they make decisions on a lot of neural networks that is in the background, so you cannot simply trace back to its origin that easily. Same thing with generative AI. So that's why we have problems with generative AI called hallucination. Sometimes you give it some data about me, for example, and say, okay, this is a person who's coming to my college. I'm going to introduce him. Sirisha, where is Sirisha? Okay, so she's, let's say, using ChatGPT to prepare for the session. Sometimes what it will do, Srikanth also served as a director at Google. At some point, he is the one who invented Google. Maybe my description, the LinkedIn said, I worked on Google technologies and I founded one Google framework. So it says Srikanth founded Google. Like, this is what we call hallucination. So when it does not have enough information, it imagines. Of course, it's generative AI, it should generate, but then it generates too much beyond what is required. So those are some of the limitations that we have. Okay, so now what are LLMs? Can anyone answer? Awesome, 1%. అన్నారు అర్థం కాలేదు. సో వాట్ ఈస్ LLM? One person, can they raise their hand so I can focus on them? Raj garu model annaru evaraithe. So a bit louder please.
Large language models.
Large language models. Nice. Okay. Can you go to the next slide? Okay. So now what is large language model? So I'm not going to ask what large language model is, you don't have to worry. Okay, so like we agreed, so you are going to give simple answers and then I will continue. Okay, so it will be interactive. So now you have a lot of information over the internet. Okay, let's say all of that is textual information, texting information or blogs, articles and all that. I took that information and I trained that information to a model. Okay, then that's a language model. Now why large? There is like billions of data that we are training on the model. So now if you say there is large language model, is there a small language model? There is. There are SLMs which we use at our organization. Right? So these are focused models. For example, I have trained a model on all of this data. Okay, I gave an input process and I put it in the medical field. Okay, I just asked it, hey, one of my patient is having headache. What do you think? It's just like Googling. I think he'll die next minute. He has this problem. So now, why? Because it's trained on everything. So now when I take a model, I train it purely focused on patient actual information, like their history, probably not the names, but their history for patient. AI, Google and Meta. Meta is nothing but earlier it's called Facebook, so now they have a group of organizations, they call it Meta. How many of you joined in Varsity College in the first year aspiring to join Google, Microsoft, Netflix, Amazon? It's okay, raise your hand. Even I joined like that. Okay, I'm seeing like this, but still okay. Now do you still aiming for that? I think you should. We will talk about that at the end. Anyways, so OpenAI has one of the famous models, ChatGPT, that you are using, GPT-4, GPT-3. Now we have GPT-5 as well. Okay, which is very annoying. And then we have Gemini. So Gemini is still trying to compete. Okay, because in the market it's always who comes first. Do you prefer Zomato or whatever comes later? Swiggy. Okay, Amazon or Flipkart? Why? I mean, they both do the same thing, but we got used to one that came earlier. So for you to break that feeling, you have to do even better than that. So Google is trying to do that to get into the market, but at this point they are doing something similar. And then we have Meta. Meta has been always a fan of open source. So whatever they do, they put it in the open source. Okay. On the same note, I have a question coming up regarding open source. So and then anyone can use that. So whole source code is also available. You can fine tune and you can do everything. So now, and these are the model names that I put there: GPT-4, and then there is a multi-model, and then there is Llama 3. Llama 3.1 is the one which has been trained on huge data so far. Okay. And yeah, so if you use Twitter, I don't want to use the new name, it's not so nice. So in the Twitter we have Grok, right? And then we have Mistral, Anthropic. So have you heard about Claude? Some people call it Claude. So this is very good in programming. Even beyond ChatGPT, many people use Claude in workplaces because this is faster. Does not help you in your programming interviews, don't worry. Okay, question. What is open source?
Everyone can contribute.
What is open source contribution?
They can contribute to the any companies, society, organization. Like open GSOC
Okay.
contributing.
So how many of you did open source contribution? So what contribution did you do? Just out of curiosity. No. What is the contribution that you've done to open source? No. Okay. Anyone did contributions to open source? Not even you? Abhirav? Okay. No, I see you very active on LinkedIn, so. Okay. One suggestion to you all, start contributing to open source. That opens up more opportunities for you. Okay. How do I contribute to open source? What's the process? All of that could be a totally different session. But in a gist, I'll share a few links at the end of the session. So probably, I don't know, whoever the coordinators are here. Okay, so that they also feel special. They will forward it to your classroom groups. Okay, make sure you forward. Okay, don't keep them. Okay. So now this will list out all the open source projects that are out there. Okay, and what they do. So now when you explore this, there's a small detour from the session. So when you explore this, you will feel like, sorry for this word, shit. Like you don't know anything. That is normal. Okay, so now what you do, you start exploring it. The same ChatGPT that you are using for useless things, use it to understand these open source technologies. And in GitHub, there is something called good first issues when you go to their code repositories. And how many of you know GitHub? Okay, good. So for those of you who don't know, GitHub is like a Google Drive of coding, as simple as that, but more structured for coding. Okay, so now you will see good first issue. Take that one. Maybe it will take you a month to solve that small issue that is there. Raise a PR, pull request, okay, and then get it approved and keep contributing slowly. What does this do? You will be slowly accepted into that community. For example, Docker. Have you heard about Docker? Docker has an open source community. Kubernetes has an open sourse community. Kyverno is one open source framework, and then we have Argo CD. So now these names are too fancy, but they are close to home when you read what they do. Okay, so I'll share one link which will show around 200 to 300 open source projects. Anything that piques your interest, pick that and start contributing to it, and slowly join their meetings. These open source groups, they'll have meetings. Okay, and then when you join them, just observe. Do not have to talk anything. They won't even ask you questions. You just join. They're like, hey Srikanth, hey, I just joined to listen. They're like, okay, thank you, continue. So that they'll keep fighting, talking. You just stay there. First couple of times it doesn't make sense. It feels like they're fighting for something, but slowly you will get a gist of it as you make effort, right? And then as you make contributions, they will add you as core contributors to those projects. And then if you do even better, you will become maintainers of those projects. Maintainers are people who will handle these open source projects. What's the benefit to you? Once you become a maintainer, eventually they'll pull you into an organization that contributes to this open source framework. You're getting a job for yourself. No aptitude test, no GD, nothing. Pure technical contribution. So you either do everything proper way and then get the job, right? Or you do something in a very extremely focused way and then you get a job. Both are hard, but you have to choose one or the other, right? So now this also opens doors for you for the conferences, keynote sessions. So you will go as a guest speaker, you will talk at conferences, keynote sessions. And I know a junior from a different college. She recently passed out. It's been a year, and she's been a core contributor for Kubernetes for last 3 years, which means she's contributing since 3.1, and she's talking at PyCon this year. about open source. So in these conferences, they have a space for women, like women in tech. They put some titles and then they specifically focused on how they can bring up women into that. So she's talking in that area. So what I'm suggesting you all, start contributing to open source. Though it doesn't make sense at the start, eventually it will open up opportunities for you. Even if you are someone who doesn't know coding at all, we can start now. Okay? Okay. Next one. Next one. So, is ChatGPT a large language model? Yes or no? Are you looking at the slide and answering? Because that is rigged. You sure? Okay, so now a question for you all again. What is a multi-model?
Trained for multiple purposes.
Example?
The same model is used for both health purposes as well as education purposes.
Not really, but something like that. Can anyone else answer? So you can think, see, I already gave all the answers in the previous slides. I'm asking questions after the slides are over.
Generating text and images.
Absolutely. So a model which generates both text content and also visual content, let it be images, videos, that's a multimodal. So now is ChatGPT multimodal?
Yes.
No. It's a textual model. So in OpenAI, we have something called Sora, S-O-R-A, right? And Doddi. So when you ask it image in the background, it switches to those models. Okay? And then it gets you images. But it takes so much time to do that. And I'll explain the process behind that. But in the latest versions of ChatGPT, they are merging everything into one. So you ask image, it will generate, but it will not generate videos for you. Have you tried in ChatGPT? Okay, and then it will generate text. So when you go with other ones, and have you heard about Banana? Google Nano Banana. So it generates images beautifully with Shah Rukh Khan. I mean, at the end of the year, if all of you do not get student of the year, so you can take like Loshma Madam, Principal Sir, Apparo Sir, and all the management, give a photo. Hey, replace this person with me as a student of the year. Right? You get a picture. But authenticity cannot be given. Okay. Next. Next. Right. Because why I'm skipping those slides, I've already explained those earlier while I'm talking to you. Can anyone tell me why we need fine tuning of this? No, I don't need any other noise. When I ask, hey, can you tell me about this chipset, and it should not tell, do you know recently this happened? Like, I don't care, just answer the question that I asked. Right? So, trying to avoid the noise and the hallucination. Okay. Now, you are all experts in fine tuning models, right? So what is a hyperparameter? What is a hyperparameter? Okay. What does that do? What happens if you tune the hyperparameters? Accuracy of your system increases. Okay. So now for training the LLMs, what you need to do is you always need one pre-trained model, a base system. Right? So you cannot create your own large language model until Vasu Engineering College starts a data center here. Maybe we can have that as a future scope for 2050 for a data center for Vasu College. But until then, we will be taking a base LLM, a base model, then we'll prepare our data. So now, why I'm asking you questions is I'm trying to link whatever you learned during your sessions to this. Okay, in your sessions, in the sense in your classes. So, is data preparation an important step? Since I already gave answer in itself, you're telling yes. Why? I mean, I just pull up some data, I just train the model. Why do I have to put extra effort in data preparation? Noise. What is noise?
Without relevant information.
Absolutely. So, what you are doing during data preparation is you are taking the information that is relevant for this model. Okay, which means you are doing a data preparation work very stringently. So there is a quote in machine learning field: garbage in, garbage out. So if you train the model with garbage, the results you will get will be the same. And one example is Microsoft few years back released a bot named Ruh, R-U-U-H. Okay, it was released on Twitter. People started scolding it so much. At some point, it started scolding everyone who grades it. They had to shut down the bot. Garbage in, garbage out is an example. And this is a model that is built on basis of reinforcement learning. And now what ChatGPT does, because of that experience, and if you guys are aware, OpenAI is in partnership with Microsoft, right? So now what they do, they don't train automatically with all the questions you ask. You'll paste, right? Some of you will tell, hey, my one girl that I'm going behind, she is not talking to me, how to impress her, right? All these kinds of questions, all these kinds of information, they'll filter. They'll have people still manually going through all the questions and then filtering out. Anyone? I mean, if you heard, you can tell louder. Okay. RAG is retrieval augmented generation. You can tell, right? If you already then. Nice. I mean, I just want you all to be interactive. Okay. So now what does RAG do? So this is where we go all technical. Ready? So how many of you are already lost? That's okay, you can raise your hands. How many of you like experts on the content that's explained so far? Now you can answer any questions that I ask. Very weird. So you're not on that side and this side. So how many of you are switched off right now? So whoever does not raise hand means they are switched off, right? You did not understand what switch off means. You are seriously looking at me as if you are listening, but you are not here. Aeroplane mode basically. No internet, no Wi-Fi, just mobile is on. Something that you do in the classes. So is it interesting so far?
Sir.
You cannot always do that. Okay, so you cannot afford an infrastructure to train the models. Even for you to train an SLM or train an LLM on a focused data, you need GPUs, which is where you use AWS Bedrock, or you buy your own set of GPUs or mini data centers and do that, which is not possible all the time, though it's an obvious option. So now the alternative we have is RAG. So how does that work? So the way it works is when we have a bunch of data, we chunk it down. Do you know what chunk is? Splitting it into different pieces. So now what we do, it is converted into numerical information and then stored into a database. Okay. Again, new vocabulary introduction. That database is called vector database, because regular databases cannot store this numerical information and cannot index it appropriately. So in order to do that, the new kind of NoSQL database came in, which is called vector database. Okay. So now this, there are different providers. You have ChromaDB, you have Quadrant, you have Pinecone. So these are database providers like Postgres, MySQL, Oracle. So in VectorDB, these are the different types, names. So now what it does, it stores this information, and then when you ask a question, okay, what are the sessions that happened at Vasavi College? in the month of September. Now it goes to the database, not directly. This question is again converted into numerical information. And then this numerical information is compared with the one in the database to get the relevant chunks. Can anyone explain about cosine similarity?
Distance.
Any one person? Similarity between the? Is that the only thing that we use it for? Cosine similarity. You have it in your curriculum, right? Okay, great. This is a check for you and for me, that how much you learned, and for you, whatever you learned, you're actually applying in the industry, and you might be not listening to the classes thinking it's a waste, because you're using it right now. Okay, so we use cosine similarity approach to find the similarity between the question asked and the one that is in the database for the data, and then we retrieve the chunks, and then we filter top 5, we call them top K chunks. You need 5, 3, whatever chunks of information, then you convert them again to text. So now it says, okay, in Vasavi this happened, this happened, this happened. This information is now sent to LLM for summarization with the question. Now it says, hey, here is the question that is asked by Srikanth. He says how many sessions have been there in September. This is the textual data that I have. Take both and give it in a more structured format. Now what it does, it simply structures in a beautiful English, like all of your LinkedIn posts and even mine, right? So suddenly LinkedIn posts vocabulary increased so much. Like it uses the vocabulary of Sujani madam, who used to be here. Okay, so now this is the whole RAG process. In this whole process, did we train an LLM on any data that we have? No. So we just took our data, we just converted it into chunks, stored it into a vector database. And then when we ask a question, we are retrieving those chunks, and cosine similarity is one of those approaches. You can do different similarity approaches there, different algorithms that you learned in your curriculum, depending on the use case. Okay, and then finally this is being summarized and sent to the people. This is the RAG based system, and my whole talk in PyCon is on advanced RAG, how we build advanced RAG with pure Python and all that. I'm not going to explain that right now, confused, but okay. And the second option is of course full fine tuning. Do you guys know about PEFT? Anyways, I'm going to skip that right now. Okay. I don't want to confuse more. Now, some of you might have noticed one of your friend uses ChatGPT, creates great content, and you still not able to do the same with ChatGPT. For you it gives bullshit information, for him it gives good information. Why? You feel like it's like Google search. Earlier it is about Google search. We used to be like, how come when you do Google search you find the right answer, and when I do I will not? Right? So it's about prompting is nothing but having a good context. Context is like what you want to do, and then make the LLM understand it so it can do better. You can't be like, give me a good program. Then which program it will give? Software program or dance program or TV program? Whatever it knows, it will give randomly, right? So here are a list of programs that you can do. ETV has this, MATV has this. And I'm like, this is not what I asked. I asked software program. And then it says, oh great, this is what Dennis Ritchie did in 1965. And I'm like, this is not what I asked. You keep doing that, right? So now, why that happens is because we're not trained on prompt engineering. In the current generation of Gen AI tools, prompt engineering is very key skill. Very key skill. Because we bought licenses for a few people in the organization for ChatGPT and Cursor. Cursor is another tool. Okay, and I have a joke that I read about Cursor, which I'll share soon. So now when we gave that, some engineers, they are able to use these tools and build products. For example, if they take 10 days, they are building now in 8 days, 7 days and so on. And some engineers, second one, if you look at, it's an instructional prompt. So when you look at instructional prompt, let's say you are attending meetings and then you have a transcript. Do you know what transcript is? Like whole conversation is in a textual format. It will be available in Google Meet and all those. So that transcript is given to ChatGPT. You don't want to go through 2 hours worth of session. Again, point to point. Just need a summary. Now you go to ChatGPT and if you tell you are a summarizer, summarize this, it will summarize and give it to you. Now, how can you make it better? Now you are going to tell, I am a computer science student or I am an AIML student. Let's take computer science only for now because we relied so much on AIML people because I am biased because of Loshma madam. But since Loshma madam was also HOD for CSE and I am a CSE student, so we'll take this as an example. They'll come and they'll say, hey, you know what, Srikanth gave this whole presentation. Here are the slides. Half of it didn't make sense to me. He asked AIML questions which we were not explained to at all. Can you do one thing? So can you take these slides, take all the concepts and think of generate a summary and then validate it like you are a computer science student who's not exposed to too much of machine learning information and add required points to make sure it is clear and understandable and give me. So now it just does not give you summary. It says, hey Srikanth, so as you said, here is something you spoke about cosine similarity. You might not have heard about this. This is what it is. Now it says bunch of formulas. How do we make it even better? Improve your prompt telling. If there is any complex explanation like formulas or things like that, what you do, simplify and explain it to me as if you are doing to a kid. Easy, right? So now if you are going to professors earlier, so you are feeling shy to ask questions, even if they are ready. Now with ChatGPT, doesn't care, you can ask however many times you want. So make your prompt, improve your prompt, you will understand this. Same for your sessions, like you have your subjects in the classroom. Take those boring subjects of yours. Everyone has one. So mine is data warehouse. Loshma madam and I were talking about it on a different context. So, and there is another subject I dreaded so much, compiler design. Right? So I think I failed twice in that. Second attempt I passed, but whatever it is. So now, if I am studying right now, so I would take the curriculum, I would give it, because for my compiler design, professor was excellent. Still that is too complex for me to digest, and I'm still at the point where why do we need to design a compiler and half semester is over. Right? So you give that curriculum to the ChatGPT and then you ask, okay, this is the content that I do not understand. So can you simplify all this information for me in this way? Then you keep giving repeated prompts with more detailed information. Doesn't matter if you do not understand anything until now. You can even tell it, okay, consider me like a first year computer science student who just joined today, and give it. Even then it does that. Okay. And then contextual prompt is something I have already told you, but here is another example for that. So you are traveling, let's say, to Amsterdam. So I'm taking this an example because last time I went there for a customer meeting. I wasn't planned and I did not know that Amsterdam is always raining, even in summer. So I went there, we got down the flight around 3 AM and I was literally freezing and I'm on a t-shirt and a short. Right? So now, if I am planning next time, so I'd say, of course I'll ask ChatGPT and few blog posts, and now that I'm using it too much, I'll just search, I'll take 3 links of blog post, I'll give it to ChatGPT, I'll say, hey, these are 3 links, go through them and find anything else that you can. I'm going to Amsterdam, these are my dates, what should I wear? And I will say, Srikanth, based on the data that I have, I think you should wear warm clothes, blah blah blah, and all these things. Now it gives me some information. If I simply tell it I am going for a client meeting, what should I wear? It will tell wear a suit. But now the whole context changed, right? So even for this, I'm going for a client meeting, but it's not like my flight is directly landing in the client's office. So we are getting down, which means we are asking for the travel outfit. So this is about contextual prompting. And then there is multi-turn prompts. So multi-turn prompts is what I explained about the summarizer earlier for the session. So you do this step. Once you get the results, you do this. And once you do this step, you do this. So now it will give the result, and then it will run a prompt on its own results, and then again it does, and so on. There is a multi-turn prompt, and this is a very powerful tool in prompt engineering. And most of you will not be using this, at least until now. But if you start using this, you will find more value for learning, digesting the content, subjects that you have in your curriculum, and so on. Okay, next. Okay, how many of you heard about LangChain? Someone thought, just like how always someone else will think, like, okay, this is a problem, we need to convert this into a library so everyone can reuse it. That's what folks thought, and then they published a library called LangChain. So now what LangChain does is it lets you connect your prompts to OpenAI, Claude, and different tools, okay, and then get the result and do any kind of operations that you want to do, like mathematical, even for the RAG solution that I explained, right? All of these things can be built using LangChain. So now, if you look at these things, so it talks about prompt templates, memory, tools, and all these things. So what's the importance of memory? So now, when you go to ChatGPT, you open one specific chat, you ask multiple questions, right? And then it keeps the memory of those questions in that one chat. But when you build an application, how do you make sure? Because you're not using ChatGPT, you're building your own ChatGPT, custom GPT, right? So now, how do you make sure all of these questions are remembered, at least for that instance of time? So for that, you need something called memory component. Okay, and my team always uses the name memory component. I hate it so much, and I personally call it context component, because that makes it more easy, because it keeps the context of all the chat in the memory. Okay, and then you have prompts, and then chains are like different pieces, different LLMs, tools that you are using. OpenAI, if you go to OpenAI, you can use GPT-4, GPT-4o. Now we have GPT OSS, open weight models. GPT OSS is an open source model that without paying you can use. Okay, so all of these can be connected using LangChain. So now what I would suggest you all, if you are diving into generative AI space after this session, go home or go to hostel and then start exploring what LangChain is. The course is probably 300, 400 on Udemy. If it shows 5,000 today, open tomorrow, it will say 80% discount, 500. Every alternative day they have discount. That is the trick about Udemy. Okay? And something we used to do when we were in college, we used to take 1 year subscription. We do this till date, not official. Is we used to take one subscription split by everyone. And since we will be, for example, in the college IP, it shows like one person is using it for them. And then there is a limited number of people, like 8 members or so, used to purchase a subscription or a course, and then we used to learn. Because at that point we were not so concerned about certificates. We were more concerned about knowledge. So we never thought who will get the certificate if all of us share. And I think first question you might be getting is who will get the certificate. Right? So if you are thinking that, remember my first conversation, do not put any certificate in the resume if you do not know the hands-on. You are going to ruin the whole interview process for yourself. Okay. Next. So I already explained this. Next one. So You can go next. So we also spoke about vector data. It starts eliminating few content. Like it's like when you pour a drop. How many of you did chemistry lab in the first year? So there is one lab called when you do like this, suddenly you get color, right? Titration. Some you will adjust something once one drop falls, pink color will come, right? For us, we broke that. I don't know. Yeah, canonical. I forgot all the names. Thank you. Okay. So similarly, the way this works is you have an image. Okay, and then this image is a pure total black one, and then it starts eliminating noise little by little from that image, so that it starts to create an image that it wants to form. So that is how a diffusion model works. So like I said, I'm not going deeper into this. Then I'll have to talk a lot about sigmoid functions, beta values, and a lot of formulas, and then I know you will totally go into aeroplane mode. So I'm going to explain the concept, hoping that you will go back, you will spend time little by little and digest more deeper part of this content. Okay? So now, second one is like anime style, third one is pure Shinchan cartoon style, and the fourth one somehow looks like Ben 10. Yeah. So those are 4 kinds of prompts that I gave to the diffusion model for the same image with slight change, and then that's what it generated. Okay, here comes the last part of the session, and then I'm going to ask few questions and I'll keep my end of bargain on giving something. Okay. Agentic AI agents. How many of you heard about this? No one? I mean, if you heard, you can raise your hand. Okay? You can raise fully. I'm not going to ask questions. Okay? That's all? Cool. So now, can you tell me what the problem is with existing LLM? You can guess and tell whatever you feel. Right or wrong doesn't matter. And from this point onwards, I'm not going to talk unless I'm getting some interaction. Ambiguity, okay? And what are the problems that you've seen with LLM? Data retrieving is complex, okay? And heroes in the back. మన పరువు నిలబెట్టాలి మీరు చెప్పండి ఏదో ఒకటి ర్యాండమ్గా ఏదో ఒకటి అనుకుంటారు కదా
Computing large data.
Computing large scale data, okay. Misleading information, okay. Maintenance, hallucination. All these are valid points. You keep going. What else?
Context-based answers.
Context-based answers, yes. Couldn't hear. Someone said something. More memory, yes. Okay. It explains what to do, but it will not do. They are improving that part. Okay. And okay. So now, tell me something. I'll ask this question. You tell me if an LLM will answer. Okay. Today is September 6th, right? So let's time travel. Today is September 1. So now I'm asking my LLM, what should I wear in Tadepalligudem on September 5? What will be the answer? Sorry? Okay, I give very detailed prompt. I'm going to give a session, blah blah blah. Yeah, for example, okay, formal clothes.
Weather, it will check for the weather and for
How?
next 5 days.
How?
Like Google weather sheet. Go to the
LLM cannot access Google.
like previous data.
Okay, so previous year it said okay, on September 5th It was very sunny.
No, not previous year, sir. Not previous past few days. Past few days.
Okay, past few days, based on that, it gave me an answer. It said, okay, past few days it's raining, go with the raincoat and everything. I came with the raincoat, it's burning like anything. Then, or let's say, for example, since we are doing time travel, let us also imagine, okay, it is snowing. So I said, go with woolly clothes and everything. And then I came here, I'm sweating fully. How do we solve this? What is the problem here?
Prediction.
Updation. Okay, how do we solve that? I mean, we cannot keep on updating every single day.
Prediction. Predicting.
Prediction is again like randomly guessing, right? What else? Think very basic. Preferences. Okay, I told my preferences for different weather style. Now still I need to understand what the weather is.
So based on month, date,
Anyone who wants to think simple?
it should ask the question.
Okay, it should ask what the weather is. Okay, how do I make it ask what the weather is? Again, that's a gamble, right? So this is rainy season, but does it look like rainy outside? It's like summer season. Okay. So my question is, today is September 1st and I am going for a session to Vasavi College, Tadepalligudem on 5th. What kind of clothes should I wear depending on the weather? It's very simple.
Backup to keep.
Sir?
To keep backup.
Right, call your friend, good answer.
To keep backup clothes. Backup.
I mean, now I can pack whole weather clothes in that case. So it's simple. Normally what we would do, we would go to Google, we're telling prediction and everything like I'll see the weather. It is a rainy, sunny, something based on the del pack. Even in that case if it fails, it fails. I cannot do anything. But even that context is not available for LLM. So now to solve the problem, they said, okay, I'll do something. I'll make my LLM access and then training them, right? Custom training them, and then having challenges with custom training those models. From there, we went to the RAG approach, retrieval augmented generation, and they invented vector databases, right? And then they went to the next step where they started building connected systems around this LLM, and they found challenges. And then they started creating a protocol, a library called LangChain to connect things. And then at the end, they wanted access to internet and different other services. And then they started going and inventing another protocol called MCP. And then they started creating multi-agent systems. That is where the market is right now in Gen AI. Rest is things that are surrounding this ecosystem only. There is a Meta released new LLM, open weight model released by OpenAI. Right? It is trained on these many parameters, and then there is this multi-model by Azure. All of these things is in this ecosystem only. So now, any questions? You can hit the last one also. So I'm not going to talk about the challenges as of now. So since you know the challenges, the first challenge, at least for me, is I go to interviews, people use ChatGPT, and there are some tools which will hide your tool that you are using. It won't be visible during screen share, but it is very obvious for interviewer to know. I have rejected like 28 candidates last month because they were using AI tools and all that for job interviews. Okay, that is one of the primary disadvantage I see with Gen AI. And the second disadvantage, besides those slides, those are more of society-oriented slides, like having deep fakes, creating wrongful content, like Modi meeting someone or stuff like that. But in software industry for students, the problem is, and the joke that I'm talking about Cursor is, someone said Cursor is free for students. I don't know if you know. Okay. On the same note, someone commented, sugar is free for diabetic patients. I don't know how many of you are getting the joke. The point is, your students, if you are using ChatGPT, now you join the organization, you don't have your own thought process. Everything I ask you put into ChatGPT. For that I will get my maid from home, I'll teach her how to type in English and she will do it. Why do you need 4 years of computer science degree? So I'm talking about cosine similarity earlier, I'm talking about databases, chunking approaches and all these algorithms. These should be applied in what you are doing. And if you don't know programming itself and you are relying on a bot for that, then you cannot survive in the software industry for long. You will start doing what you are supposed to do in these 4 years in the college once you join the organization. But the problem is, managers like me will see that you are slow and they'll put you in PIP. You know what PIP is? Performance Improvement Program. That is software companies' way of sending you out. They cannot just like that send you out. So they'll say, hey, you know what, your performance is going down. I would like to help you. So let me put you in PIP. We'll work together. At the end, if you succeed, you will continue to stay in the company. If not, you will be sent out. 90% of the time, the agenda is to send you out. If they are putting you in PIP, they would have already tried to keep you. And at the end, they decided they are putting you in PIP. That's how the system is right now. So as software engineers, I'd say do not rely on this Gen AI solutions for your coding. Okay, for summarization, understanding the content or your curriculum, that's a different story. It simplifies things to digest content. But to write a code, if you are going to lead code, copying something from there, giving here, now paste it there, and you are telling I solved 90 lead code problems. I'll give you one simple program in dynamic programming. I'll twist it. You won't find it in any lead code. Specifically for these gold star lead code engineers, silver star lead code engineers, I created few programs you won't find anywhere. So the moment I see it, I'll give them that program. If they are really the star they are supposed to be, they'll answer it. They'll get selected. If they just copy pasted or marked up, they won't answer. They get rejected. So as a student, if you are smart, as an interviewer, they will also be smart, right? So they will come up with their own plans. Okay? So any questions? So remember that sugar is free for diabetic patients. Okay? Every time you try to use Cursor, ChatGPT for coding, it's like a diabetic patient eating sweets. It's just sooner or later. I'll share the slides. I also share few courses. There is this website called Educative. Actually, I should have added some slides from afternoon sessions also. This could have been helpful to you. So there is this website called Educative. EDUCATIVE. So it's full of written content. It does not have someone talking or audio or video, no such thing. It's pure article kind of thing. But it will have very good information on generative AI. Not just generative AI, system design, back-end, front-end, whatever you want to learn. Okay? Who is the coordinators here? You guys can take a note or type in your phone. Okay, that's the first one. The second one is roadmap.sh. This website will tell you different paths. Okay, so probably you can open a new Chrome tab and just type roadmap.sh. Okay, it's very dark. So for example, if you click on, which one will be easily understandable for you? AI engineer. Second row, last one. Yeah. Now it will show you the whole set of things that you should learn. And this will include your training curriculum, by the way. I hate to break it to you. So whatever you are learning is still relevant. Okay, so that's an example, but you can go through different things. You are interested in cloud, generative AI. If you want to become an architect, of course you can't become an architect as you join a fresher, but at least you will have a career path on what you should do eventually to get there. So that's another website. Then here's the thing. So how many of you have attended conferences last 3 years or last 1.5 years? I'm assuming no one. Workshops? JNTUK? No workshops? Mari Garam annaru ma batch kanna. Okay. What I would suggest is start attending workshops. Okay, don't just go to other college fests for roaming and seeing girls. For boys, for example, and for girls to have some free time, don't just go there. You can have the free time, but then again, attend those workshops, learn what they are telling. Certificates does not matter if you cannot answer what is in the certificate. It is as simple as that. Okay, I will tell anywhere. By chance, if someone selected you because you have certificates, they will fire you once you join the organization. I bet. Because they will find out soon. Got the point? So, for example, someone was hired in my organization. They said, hey Srikanth, this guy 5x Azure certified, 3x AWS certified, 2x Google certified, architect. Oh, great. Do you want him for your team? You are looking for a cloud engineer. Yeah, definitely, give him to me. Okay, let me evaluate. So he came. Like, hi, yeah, hi. So what do you do? Sir, I am 5x certified, 3x certified. Okay, let's leave about the X for now. Same question I ask everyone. What is EC2? And EC2, sir, servers you put runs virtual machine. Great. Okay, can you deploy one application in EC2? I never did that, sir. Okay. If you deploy an application in EC2, how is it exposed to the internet? What is NAT gateway? What is public subnet, private subnet? What is an ACL, access control list? What is S3? What is intelligent tiering? What are the tiers in AWS? Those of you are feeling comfortable, probably majority of you, these are basic questions in AWS. And if you are certified and you are worried after listening to these questions, then you should prep yourself well, you should do more hands-on. And I'm going to ask same questions again next year. If your resume has these things. Last year, during Pool Campus Drive, there was a girl from, I think, SRK. So she said she knows AWS. She came until technical round. I said, okay, I'll give you an AWS environment. Can you create CloudWatch alarms? Because CloudWatch is there in her resume. She said, yes, of course. I like, okay, we'll see how much you can do. We spinned up an environment on AWS, we gave it to her. And what you would do if I ask you this question? You know how to create, what you would do? So he said, I'll create, right? Most of you would have said, yeah, of course, create. She asked, which metrics do you want me to create the alarms for? I said, walk. Will you walk straight onto the wall? No, right? He said, where should I go? So now that is someone who did hands-on will ask that question. So I said, create a metric for EC2. When CPU utilization is more than 90%, raise an alarm. Intentional question. Then she said, sir, actually, I'll create a dummy EC2. It will never reach 90% utilization unless I install something in that. I don't think alarm will be triggered. I said, give the laptop back to me. You are selected, you can go. I asked few questions before that, but this hands-on is enough that she is doing a good amount of effort on what she is learning. Not like someone, when I asked about what is AWS recognition, they're telling it's an EC2. Then what is EC2? Same as this. You can check in Google. Like, okay, great stuff. Please wait outside. HR will let you know. So you got the point? Anything, machine learning, computer science subjects, data structures, in data structures, let's say you have dynamic programming, coin problem. You remember coin problem? No? You have 2, 4, 8 coins. I think Venkat sir will eventually train you on that. That's a classic problem. But you should understand dynamic programming concepts. What is the algorithm that is the best one right now for shortest path first? No, that was beaten last month by some Chinese developers. Until last month, Distra's algorithm is the fastest, shortest path first algorithm, not anymore. It's changing. So, how do you know all of these things? Get on LinkedIn. So, people will post bunch of stuff on LinkedIn, including spam content to useful content. Leave the spam, get the useful content. And then when you are on LinkedIn, approach people respectfully. Okay, I've seen some folks reaching out. For example, one of your seniors were asking me a question. I couldn't answer, so I said reach out to your placement officer. Is the bond mandatory for OSI? I mean, what is the definition of a bond? If it's an option, why would someone put it? For example, OSI has 3 years bond, and most people get scared to join because of that. And then I tell people every time that any organization you join, you'll spend 3 years in your first company. First 3 years will be the same organization. You have a bond or no bond, there's no difference. Then why organization kept it? Organization feels we are training some people, okay, and then if they leave, they don't know much about the organization, we couldn't do much with the employee, and they left the organization on a bad note. So if they stay for 3 years, then we will know what he does or she does, and they will know what the organization provides and the values, and they can take a decision. And they provide some joining bonus, blah blah, whatever, once you finish 3 years, some 2 lakhs or something they'll give you. But the context is, you don't just go to LinkedIn, hi, there is a bond, is it mandatory? Bro, who are you? Why are you reaching out to me? Okay, I said, at least since it's someone from our college, I said, okay, please reach out to our placement officer. I don't think they did that. If they did, they would have explained in a very proper way. But then, so when you're on professional platform, your message defines how someone perceives you, right? So you don't have to call someone sir on LinkedIn. You can just call them by name. But just say when you connect, for example, I forgot your name. Your name is Teja, right? Yeah. Okay. Let's say I connected with Teja. Teja is senior architect at Google. You'll get there if you try. Right, so now I'm telling, hi Teja, so I'd like to connect with you. I have a passion at some point to join Google, and then I'm doing these and these things. Your insights would be helpful. For now, can we just connect? Just send a request. They'll accept. Once they accept the request, just tell them thanks for accepting the request. And just follow them for a while. And then you keep doing good things, like maybe doing projects and everything, and then post them. Everyone in your network sees that. There are few people that I have hired directly from LinkedIn, and many organizations do that based on what they do. Right? That's a selling platform. All your buyers are there in LinkedIn. That's what happens in the final year, right? మిమ్మల్ని అమ్మకానికి పెడతారు, కంపెనీస్ వచ్చి కొనుక్కుంటాయి. They'll give you a cost. So now, how do you go to the highest bidder? By doing some active hands-on work, by showcasing your skills on LinkedIn. How many of you have LinkedIn account? Great stuff. How many of you last used it yesterday? Nice. 2 days back? You got my point, right? Having an account is different from using it. Okay? So now use the roadmap.sh, use Educative, so it's on I think 60-65% discount. I'm not sure if it's still the keep time opportunity. I can push for that, but you will have to go through an interview process. It will be same as your job. So you'll have a written exam, and then you'll have a technical interview, and then if you pass both, they will definitely give you an internship. But I cannot give for 50, 60 people, even I cannot give for 5 at once, for example, but they definitely have that, because the reason is if we are taking someone for internship, we are relying on him and considering that he'll become full-time eventually. So they'll also make sure the process is same as, but not as stringent. It's a bit lighter on a note. You won't have a group discussion and all that. So for internship, what we look for, even internship or job, what we look for is basic skills, like you know a programming language, can you write programs? And then the way we work is we'll give you a program and we'll work with you in solving that problem. Our intention there is not for you to directly write it on your own. Can we work together and are you thinking? Right? So are you using your brain and doing if inputs is given. There will be some people when we say, what is your thought process? Let me write the program first, I'll talk after. They'll write the program and then how did you write this? They don't know. Because they mucked up the program or something like that, right? So when we are able to work with them, that's one, programming, and then database. So any person, one programming language, one database. You come with MongoDB, you come with Postgres, Oracle, or general MySQL. Questions will be asked on that. Then if you are from machine learning department, they'll ask questions that is in your resume, on topics in your resume. If you're from computer science, they'll ask probably data structures. If you put networking is your favorite, they'll ask you about TCP/IP protocols, what is UDP protocol, how does they differ, what is TLS 1.0, TLS 2.0. Because no one is expecting you at the level of an architect, right? So you are new hires coming from college, you are learning some technologies in the college, so you'll be evaluated on those things only, unless you say I am AWS certified, put something in your resume. Those will also be. Anything else? For internship? For internship, mostly it goes through LinkedIn. Someone reaches out to people who are working in OSI, and eventually it will come to me or someone in my team. For shortlisting the resume, at this point we don't know really. So every resume after ChatGPT, every resume looks like they're a pro. Everyone's an on-paper pro. So we don't trust, even if Dennis Ritchie sends a resume to us, at this point we are like, okay, let's interview him and then we'll see if that is same as resume. So for final years they have paid internships, for others they don't have paid internships. It is definitely useful. Like I said, I think we're doing a session of afternoon here itself, but still I'll explain, since people are, for the first time people are asking more questions, so we'll spend some time. There are like 3 kinds of internships. I did all 3. One, you go, they'll train you on something, they'll give you a certificate. They'll say internship certificate, description will have been trained on Java, Python, something. That is actually training certificate, not internship. And they'll charge you money for that. And there is second type, they will not charge you money, they will not give you money. They are like, we have an internship opportunity, if you want to utilize, come work for us, gain the experience. If you do great, you get a job, at least you get an experience. Now that's the second one. Third one, they'll say, well, I'll pay you this much, and then you will have to join the internship and all that, right? First one I'll always avoid, because I would rather get 300 rupees Udemy course. It will give me like 40-50 hours of content that I can slowly watch again and again. Second one, I'll always say yes, because the internship I went for in Miracle is in a way paid internship, not them, me, because for my stay I had to pay, and the reason why I'm very grateful to RCB is they gave me so many opportunities, and management, I went through our professor Sashwari madam to management, and they gave me some money for the, again, I don't mean you all now again walk into management, like give us money, we want to go to internship. No. We've done something, our professor helped me do some project and everything. So based on that, I went, okay, so I did this, remember that day, I am that person who did these things. So this is what I'm looking for. They helped me. So then I paid for the accommodation, for the stay, but rest, I just attended the internship in Miracle. That's what changed my whole career. So after that, I came back to college, I started technical club, learning more technologies and all that. So paid or not paid, if that's an experience-based internship, it's always well. Because that took me to another paid internship in final year. They were paying me 30,000 in 2018 itself. But still, I could not survive for so long in that organization. Because I thought I know everything. I went there. And it's a very rapid environment. I'm paying you 30,000, bro. You're not doing anything. So I wrote the code and I gave them an API. They said, they pushed my laptop away and the person said, this is messed up code. I'm not going to integrate this to my code. It will make my code filthy. I'm like literally tears in my eyes. Just crying is what's left. Because I'm the pro of Vasli College. I ran so many clubs. I know so many technologies. Everything is burst. Right? So it's about hands-on, about standards. Then I started learning, I started doing, and my manager then used to scold us very badly. So it's like responsibility. So I have a task, it's linked with someone. If I say that person did not do it, my part is done, he'll say, don't give me bullshit. If your task is not deployed, it's your responsibility. But these are the things they teach you in college, right? You should be responsible end to end. That's what you learn during this fest coordination and everything. So, and then he would take the mall opposite. It's in orbit mall, opposite to the building. He'll say, let's have a beer after scolding. So that's the corporate style. They'll hit you on the head and they'll give you something to eat. So now, what I'm intending to tell is, as you get paid, the expectation will also be more. That they won't be like, okay, chill, come and go. Any other questions? Which? Personally, virtual internship is not an internship for me. Right, so I'm someone who believes in, see, why do we need internship? To gain experience, right? So now, you're in college. What kind of experience are you gaining by remotely connecting with someone for an hour a day? And then doing rest here in the college? That's my personal feeling, right? So now, there are no virtual internships, unfortunately, at least in OSI. So we believe sitting in office, we want the person to collaborate with everyone in the office. We want the environment to be very friendly. Our office culture, and they should feel how it will be when they join full time. So no virtual internships. I'm generally against it. Any other questions? But then some organizations allow virtual internships, but that totally depends on the expectation and the work style they do. But from where I am coming, this is the reasoning why. Can you be a bit low? Again, like I said, it's all about what you are doing. If it's a pure certificate based, you're learning some technology over. But if you are contributing to a project, then even virtual one is valuable, right? So because someone from the industry is coming and spending time with you, even an hour, on how to do things, like practical way of things. So 8 hours in office, absolutely amazing. 1 hour, great, nothing waste, right? So that's what I'm telling. So you don't consider it like virtual or non-virtual. Look at it like the value that you are getting. Are you working on a project? Are you learning something new? And you're contributing, you're getting experience, then doesn't matter virtual or not. So this concept is for the organization, not for you. So like, as an OSI, I will think, do I want to do virtual because my team works like this? Maybe no. But in another organization, they are okay with remote style. They might agree. Any other questions? You can search like a test for my type of learning. It will give you a few questions. When you answer, you will understand what kind of learner you are. Some people will think, maybe you are not a visual learner. right? So some of my friends converted this content into audio and they will listen in YouTube music, like podcasts. Still they will understand. To this day, I don't understand how by just listening they will, because half of it, not even half, 25% of it I won't be able to process by audio. So everyone's learning style is different. So the site relies on what kind of learner you are. But then most famous ones are Coursera, Udemy, Educative. They should. Don't jump from platforms.
నెక్స్ట్ వచ్చి ఇప్పుడు మనం బయట జాబ్స్ అప్లై చేస్తూ ఉంటాం కదా, రెజ్యూమ్ అప్లై చేసినప్పుడు వాళ్ళు ఖచ్చితంగా 8 years కోర్స్ కూడా లెక్క చేస్తారు, 8 years కోర్స్ చూస్తారు కదా. సో మినిమం 8 years కూడా ఎంత ఉంటే బెస్ట్ అనేది.
ATS score. Okay. So ATS score, I don't know. That totally depends on the organization. శీతాకాల సమావేశాలు ఎక్కువైపోయినాయి. Okay. So every organization have its own ATS score. The best one is in the online, if you use some tool like generate my ATS score and then probably have I don't know 80 or something like that should do. Simple thing is, do not have images, don't put any images in your resume, any fancy graphics and all. It will be filtered by AI. That's what ATS tool is, plain like extract the keywords and text and get kind of tool. So the more fancier your resume is, the more it gets filtered. If you're going in person, you can take the fancy resume if you want to impress someone, right? But to get that online through the tools, then you should go with plain resumes itself. That's why in your college they will always show you plain textual resumes instead of graphics. మీకు అనిపించవచ్చు కదా, కాలం ఎక్కడికో వెళ్ళిపోతుంది, మా ప్రొఫెసర్స్ ఇంకా ఈ రెజ్యూమేలో చెప్తున్నారంటే, బికాస్ మీరు ఫ్యాన్సీ వాడంగానే ఫస్ట్ ఫిల్టర్ మీదే రెజ్యూమే బయటికి వెళ్ళి. దట్స్ ద రీజన్. ఇంకా same answer I gave her. So there is no expectation on technologies. Whatever you learn during your curriculum, if you are good at that, programming, database, that itself is perfect, good enough. Right? Beyond that, it's up to you, your personal interest. Whatever you pick, if you are good at it, that's enough. There is no preference like if you pick cloud, it will work out. If you pick security, it will not. No such thing. నాన్ IT బ్రాంచెస్ అయితే జాబ్స్ వస్తాయా అని అడుగుతున్నారు. నైస్ క్వశ్చన్. సో ఓన్లీ DSA నేర్చుకుంటే జాబ్ వస్తుందా అంటే, సమ్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్స్ ఎస్, ఫర్ ఎ ఫ్రెషర్. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, యూ టేక్ FANG companies, or now it's called Mang, right? Meta, Amazon, Netflix. So they do interviews purely on your these abilities. Then once you join, you need all the skills again. So I've seen people who cracked Amazon and few other companies and left within 2 months. And I know people who stayed there. I don't know, Mahalakshmi's 2020 pass out. You're super duper senior. She joined Amazon. And she stayed there for I think 3 years or something, and then she moved on to even better company. So with just that, can I do change? The answer changes with which company you are trying for. But there is no one stable language. To this day, C programming is being used in embedded programming domains. Okay, Python is being used in different areas like backend development, machine learning. Node.js, for example, JavaScript is being used even in machine learning, backend, frontend. You take Java, you can write pseudocode, I don't mind. You can write in any language. You want to write in Swift, that's okay. Ruby, fine. Opinion? Question na akali ko. ఇంకెవరన్నా అడుగుదామని మాట్లాడుతున్నాను. మీరు చెప్పండి. గ్రీన్. సో I took someone from this side and she was actively responding and you were also asking. So what I'm going to do is, for next year PyCon, I am going to get the tickets for these 3 people for the Python conference. Okay.
Myself, Jitendra, I am from CIA. Before talking about this event, I have done several internships, and one of that I have completed my internship from Miracle Software Systems after completing my 2-2. Coming to the event, I saw Mr. Srikanth's image in our college website. So before coming to this, I thought, who is this person and what he is going to do. After viewing his profile, I was very admired after looking into it. When I attended this section, he has explained about the Agentic AI and all the Gen AIs and LLMs in a very easy way, where a beginner can understand from the scratch, like from the real world examples. So I think you all enjoyed it, like you learned something new from his section, and he also said about how to build a resume and what are the contents we need to keep in our resume, and also what are the opportunities that we'll be having for a fresher, and also I am very lucky to coordinate this event along with my friend Fayaz. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Srikanth Doddi sir, for coming and giving some insightful information to us in the third year, which is very useful in our 4-2, like for the interviews and all. So thank you.